Hello, I'm Cielo Nuñez, and let's talk about the Merrill's Principles of Instruction, or MPI. Merrill's Principles of Instruction were founded by M. David Merrill, a noted educational researcher and teacher. There are 5 core principles that center on task-based learning. He suggests that truly effective learning experiences are rooted in problem solving. This involves a multi-phase process of activation, demonstration, integration, and other essential components. The 5 MPI principles involved in this instructional design model are: 1. Demonstrate. Learners are able to absorb the information more effectively when they see a prime example. For example, a visual demo of the task that outlines each step and explores associated behaviors and skills. To apply the demonstration principle in your learning course design, you might consider adding learning videos, training tutorials, or even learning infographics that showcase the main ideas. Your learners must be able to see the concepts in action to fully understand the subject matter. Demonstrations also allow them to identify areas of improvement. For instance, skills they may need to develop to improve task proficiency. 2. Apply. Learners have to apply the information and skills they've learned to get the full benefit of the learning course. Based on the Merrill's principles of instruction, this comes in the form of interactive problem solving and task performance. For example, learners are encouraged to carry out each step of the task on their own. This gives them the ability to see the challenges and obstacles firsthand. Then, they have all the knowledge and experience they need to solve the problem in the real world. In learning, this may involve branching scenarios or group collaboration projects that are problem-centered, such as solving a case study mystery or using their skills to resolve conflicts. 3. Activate. Acquiring the information isn't enough. Learners must also be able to link it to pre-existing knowledge and mental schemata. In other words, to build on their current knowledge base, which is also known as scaffolding. This also includes past experiences that relate to the subject matter they are now exploring. Everything they've learned enhances the meaning and relevancy of new ideas or concepts. For example, the skills and information they absorb in a previous course helps them successfully complete a task. There are a variety of ways to incorporate this principle into your learning course design, such as adding real-world examples, simulations, and stories that melt the old with the new. 4. Integrate. This is where it gets personal. The integration principle pertains to meaning and context. Learners must have the chance to integrate their newfound skills or knowledge into their daily lives. This may involve knowledge manipulation. For instance, being able to apply the information in new or innovative ways to achieve their goals and objectives. Integration also helps improve their motivation, as learners have the power to see how their training leads to real-world benefits. And lastly, engage. One might say that this is a STAR principle. It involves task-centric learning that encourages learners to engage with the learning content. They have to use everything they've learned to solve the problem and connect it to real-world applications. Learners have the opportunity to explore all facets of the problem and then brainstorm possible solutions. This can be done in a myriad of ways, from working together in groups to see things from different perspectives, to participating in interactive scenarios autonomously. The key is to engage and motivate learners so that they play an active role in the learning process, instead of sitting idly while the information is presented. The principle of engagement also stipulates that the difficulty level must align with learners' needs and past experiences. For instance, beginners may need to start with the basics in order to gradually build their knowledge, while more experienced learners can skip ahead to advanced aspects of the task or problem, such as delving into related skills or knowledge in order to devise alternative solutions. Instructional designers, Merrill's Principles of Instruction provides a useful framework for designing, engaging, relevant, and practical instruction. By incorporating authentic tasks, activating prior knowledge, demonstrating new concepts, providing opportunities for application and feedback, and organizing content for retention and transfer, instructional designers can create instruction that is more likely to achieve the desired learning outcomes. Now, let's compare the Merrill's Principles of Instruction to Gagne's 9 Principles of Instruction. Merrill's first principles is another systematic way of designing instruction and is similar to Gagne's framework, like the 9th step. It has an activation phase that is related to Gagne's first 3 events. The next phase, demonstration, fulfills the 4th and 5th steps, followed by the application phase, which is related to steps 6 through 8. The last of Merrill's first principles, or integration, is related to Gagne's last step. As you can see, both frameworks are similar, but of course, that doesn't mean they are the same. The major difference between the two frameworks is Merrill's first principle of learning events being based on actual problems worth fixing. When a real-world problem is at the center of instruction, learners are more likely to be effective at transferring new knowledge back to the job. Gagne's framework doesn't include the problem-based aspect, which could make it less effective when designing learning experiences, instead to help an organization to close gaps in worker performance while achieving strategic business objectives. Ethically, this is the point of instructional design and its best practices because the point is to add value. Ineffective learning events are at the risk of using an understatement, the opposite of valuable. Gagne's and Merrill's frameworks are popular because they are methodical practices that increase the likelihood that learning will apply to the job. By leveraging Merrill's first principles and its corollaries, an instructional design can increase the chances that actual value results from what they design. Let's now relate the MPI in developing instructional material using the topic of calculating and understanding money as an example. Task-centered. Real-world associations are needed for a learner to find meaning in their learning. Using real-world examples from the learner's life, from their peers, and from the wider community makes the subject more relevant to the learner. Asking the students about their experiences buying basic goods, like candies or chips in stores before the class starts, will give them an idea to what the topic is all about. Activation. When prior learning is overlooked, learners are liable to quickly forget the new concepts the teacher is introducing them to. It is vital that previous knowledge is taken into account for a new learning to be attached to and built on what is already known. Reviewing the students about the fundamental concepts of basic addition and subtraction will help them correlate the new lesson from the previous one. Demonstration. A teacher standing at the head of the class, droning on about the lesson, will quickly lose learner engagement. Learning must include demonstrations of new concepts, as well as instruction about them. Creating a game or mini role-play for the students to engage with will motivate them to understand the lesson better. Application. It is anonymous across all learning and teaching theories that using practical applications to solve real-world problems makes learning meaningful and increases the chance of retention. The use of this application and assessment strategy allows the learner to engage with the new learning on an abstract level in a meaningful way. Integrate. The learner needs to take new learning and fit this into their existing schema so that they can continue to apply this knowledge into the future and build on it. Critical evaluation of their learning for both themselves and their peers allows a learner to organize the learning in this way. It is important to note that the term problem has a variety of meanings, depending on who you ask. In fact, Merrill suggests that it encompasses a diverse range of activities and applications. However, it must be a complete task that involves the big picture, rather than individual steps or ideas related to the program. Furthermore, the task must center on a real-world challenge or situation in order to be truly meaningful and effective.